Hola, minasan! Welcome to the first round of Dandadan! Today we are covering Dandadan. I read the manga, I'm all caught up on it, so I got an idea of what's going on. Now, how does it translate to anime? I saw the first two episodes before I decided to expand into anime. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit on the pre-watch side, but there's a lot of questions. More questions than answers imaginable that I'm very curious about regarding Japanese culture. For example, the tunnel. Why the tunnel? I gotta find out, do some digging into that. There's a whole lot of chock full of references and such that I like to parse down in episode 1 and episode 2, and then once we get on with episode 3, it'll be my first time seeing how they translated the manga into animation on episode 3. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun thing to experience. Really enjoyed reading the manga. I could tell you all, it's beautiful. It's a very awesome and epic series. It's definitely, and I can't wait to see how really comes together by the end of season 1 with the anime version. So let's not waste any time and let's get researching. I have many questions about this animation. It's been driving me nuts. That whole opening animation. Not this part, like the very beginning, the part and these fonts. I know I've seen it somewhere. Ha. Pervert kick. Blocked. You should have gone with the table. You always go with the table or a hammer when dealing with perverts. That is the law of anime conservation. Maguro! Taco! You know, the first thing that came to mind when I saw this animation, the her movement and everything, was furikuri. Bully's got a bully, huh? Yeah, what? Right back to the fully coolie style animation here. I like that they don't say UFO, they say UFO. Such a beautiful twist. You would think that the overly geek would geek out on the spirit medium. Science versus fantasy. That's what we're looking at right now. The tug of war. Chat says people argue over the dumbest things.
見せてやりましょう UFO や UAP もし見ることができたら綾瀬さんだってパシリになってもらいますからね。
Nagi General Hospital.
そこの凪病院は UFO の聖地と呼ばれる場所です。屋上で UFO を呼ぶとアブダクションされます。アブダクションって何？
Yeah, the level of detail in the artwork really is really on par with the manga, and the manga really goes in hard with the artwork. Now there was something interesting there. There was the yellow moon. Yeah, the moon is yellow. Yeah, this tunnel. It's getting a little too much playtime in anime. What does this tunnel mean? When he said "too shy, shy boy," I immediately thought of the '80s song "Too Shy, Shy."
うちのばあちゃん霊媒師だって言ったじゃん。ちょっと聞いてよ。うちの家マジ変でさ、外に出るとき絶対おまじないしなきゃいけなかったの。それ登校中ずっとやらされるわけ。一番きつかったのは好きな男子。
Yes, watch anime, enhance your brain.
ばあちゃんのことすごい憎んだ。変なおまじないのせいで好きな子に嫌われたって。そっから最近まで口聞かなかったし、おまじないもやめた。でもね、他人にうちの家のことバカにされる。
This is a nice little backstory.
本当はおばあちゃんのことも霊媒師って仕事も特別感あって好きだった。でもうちなんかを引き取ってくれてさ、女で一つで大事に育ててくれて、そんなばあちゃんをうちは信じてる。そういうあんたはなんで宇宙人信じてんの？
それは別にいいじゃないですか。
何それ、なんもないの？
好きなものに理由が必要なんですか？
まあ確かに。っていうか、
Such a good conversation the two are having. This is such good writing.
そうですか。
Here we go.
おっぱい吸わせてやるからよ。めっちゃもっとしゃべ
Yeah, now you tell him, huh? Yep. She has a domain. Ooh, look at that animation. Occult-kun. That's what the text says. Occult-kun. Yep. Here they come.
何あれ、ほんとやめてほしい。
こんにちは、女の人。
女人。
我々はセルポ星人。惑星セルポから来たのでそう名乗ってます。
うちの服どこ？
あなたの荷物はしっかりと管理。
Taken care of properly.
帰りたいんだけど、これ外してくんない？
あなた方のバナナが欲しいのです。
Banana.
今から
That is insane.
セックスした後、子宮やバナナを摘出して研究します。
Dang, aliens and their probing. They always default to probing.
電話、タイミングの悪い方がいるようで。
I wish that'd be a power. Everyone's a pervert until they get caught by Turbo Granny. It's the thing. My man with the Ultraman T pose. Shah. Poor kid. You gotta have people in your life somehow. What a man you are. Oh, so much for being the man.
まずお腹の下に力を入れて頭の先から
It should be your tummy, because that's how she said it. Channel in your tummy.
もうやだ、二度とやんない。
お腹の下に力を入れて
Firm up your tummy, not lower
頭の
abs.
先から気を
I like the flip. I like how it's flipped.
おばあちゃんは本物の霊媒
See-
師だった。ぶっ飛ばせるわい。
Dang, her muscles just went flex. And that's a white moon. She like flexed the muscles the second she kicked.
何してんだよバカ。正気に戻りやがれ。そんなの。
The color scheme is interesting.
そいつの一物はわしが持ってたよ。わしが一物を持ってる限り小僧の呪いは解けねえ。返して
Very interesting.
トンネルに来い。ここはわしには遠すぎる。トンネルなら存分に相手してやるぜ。ケバイババ。
Nope, they're not hallucinating. They really are in a ship.
信じるわ、宇宙人。
I believe in it, like I was kidnapped and all. I believe in ghosts too. I got cursed after all.
で、どうするこれから。
どうしましょうか。います。
え、今から？
綾瀬さんは自分の服着て帰ってください。
ちょっと、うちがいなきゃ暴走するよ。
Chat is like, well, already 15 minutes and I already relate to their weird ass backstories, except for the alien summoning ghost part.
これ以上綾瀬さんを巻き込めないです。
行くよ。
すいません。
Mm.
自分不器用なんで。綾瀬さん、服着てください。そうでないとまともに喋れません。
What a gentleman.
嘘。
What a man.
ドキドキしてんの。ねえ、そういえば名前なんだっけ？うち名前覚えるの苦手でさ。
おお、高倉健です。
And her heart explodes. Doki doki. Dun dun dun. Much like the manga, the anime really gets the show on a good start. All right. No, we do not want to watch previews. Let's do some research. So yeah, episode 1 really matched the anime. The first couple of chapters of the anime. It was very well done. Very nicely done. Very well paced. Really brought the characters out beautifully from the pages to the screen. Bringing out so many vibes of Fully Cooley. That's it. Gotta try and remember these things here. It gives me the Fully Cooley vibes. The character dynamic between the main character and the main female character, and all the weirdness that goes on around them, and so on. Like, this is truly a nice Studio Gainax feel to it, but it has its own identity and so on. It's really excellent. One of the things that was driving me nuts when I saw episode 1 was the whole opening here. This whole animation sequence going on here. There we go. This whole sequence. This whole entire font in animation, the whole graininess and everything, it feels like it's straight out of the 60s, like the late 60s, early 70s. opening for like a live action show and such. Also, Ultraman pose. Sha! Ultraman pose. And the way that they move and so on, you see like the whole graininess. It's like something I would see, and the movement. It's like something straight out of the '60s. It's pretty freakish, and it's kind of making my brain hurt. And I'm wondering if it's coming from this here. This is Golgo 13 trailer. Now Golgo 13 star live action. This is the live action one in 1973, starring Ken Takakura, which we've seen. He is an actual actor, but you can see the look. You can actually see the look on the grain that really matches, and the font also looks very similar to the where is it at? To this. If we just roll back a little bit, here we go. Yeah, if you could see how the grain looks, this is a good one. You can see how the grain of the images and the font, it looks very similar to this. It really reminds me of this look. Makes me wonder about Golgo 13, the anime. Yeah, I can even see, it seems like they're channeling the whole Golgo 13 aesthetic and so on from back then. If we zoom in a little closer, you can see, here we go. Yeah, you see the font, how the font looks and everything, the aesthetic here. It's really channeling from back then. Here, take a look for comparison. If you see how the fonts look, that's why it was driving me nuts every time I see it. They really channeled that whole 1970, that whole late 1960s, early 1970s aesthetics of cinema and animation. But yeah, basically we meet with ISA, and unfortunately, he's being a pervert. And usually in anime, the anime girl tends to kick the butt of the pervert, but we don't get that. Surprisingly enough, we don't get it at all. He ends up beating her up, which was terrible, very, very terrible. And all she could do was just call him various fish names, taco, maguro. That's all she could do, is just call him a taco and a maguro. Oh man. But yeah, this we got introduced to her fully coolie style animation here, which is pretty nice. Just look how it moves. It moves so nicely. But one of the most interesting things that that was done here was the nice little twist. I would say twist because these are completely opposite characters. Completely. I'm capturing the teeth there. Basically, Ayase just believes in ghosts. I don't know if that's really science fiction or not, honestly. Chat says she wouldn't win that fight in real life either. Very true. That's one of the interesting things about it, is that about Dandadan is that they did they did ground a lot of reality into it, because as we saw at the end of this episode, they ramped up the fantasy and science fiction hard. So balancing it out with actual real life situations, like what happened to Ayase and her ex-boyfriend, makes a lot of sense, just to keep the story from achieving absurd levels, like maintaining the suspension of disbelief, the willful suspension of disbelief that here in our real world, if an alien shows up or a ghost actually shows up, it would break our whole perception and everything. But we got her believes in ghosts. He believes in UFOs. So it's kind of like since in Japan, spiritual powers tend to lean on the fantasy side of things. She is a fantasy character, and he's a science fiction character. Takakura is a science fiction character. So what ends up happening at the end is just pretty brilliant when they flip. With each other, in which then now she, in a very fantastic way, might I add. But one of the most amazing things, and people say it 1,000 times and they're absolutely right, this is a romance. It's action, comedy, romance, but the romance is very prominent here, and we see it. And we see it starting right here, where she was kind enough to break the yandere or tsundere, whichever one. Pick your poison. So they broke the trope, and she just goes right back to him and apologizes. Apologizes and just points out, she tries to connect with him by saying, yeah, I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in ghosts. And he's like, I don't believe in ghosts, and starts ragging on her, which is pretty cool. Honestly, it's pretty cool to see that for a character like Ken here. Saying despite having all the awkwardness and everything, the fact that he was able to summon a pair of balls to actually stare down Ayase and mock her for not believing in UFOs and believing in ghosts, where normally people look at him and mock him for making fun of for believing in UFOs and science fiction and geeking out on that is very good, very solid writing. That's very tight writing. Saying normally when we see a lot of shonen, especially shonen, they always fall into the trap of just always having the awkward shonen protagonist just be bullied at every corner, even by a character like Ayase. He never shows any assertiveness or he never shows any type of assertiveness. He doesn't show any, backbone. He always gets meek at every turn, and it gets tiring at times seeing that. And here, right off the bat, he's very quiet and timid, but the second he gets told that she believes in ghosts, all of a sudden he straightens out his bag and he's like, "Oh, you believe in ghosts? You're so dumb." and that's actually a big ego bruiser to her, because she's the type who would bully him any given day, and to be mocked by a geek for believing in ghosts, that's a big sting. It's a big sting, and oh my gosh, the fact that they just hit it off right at the bat when we have the tug of war is just pretty freaking good. I want to see the tug of war. There it is. This is pretty good. Science fiction versus fantasy. A typical Gen Con, Occult-kun situation. We got the Gyaru culture going on over here that I'd say is part of. But it's pretty hilarious. Definitely see that in conventions. I would love to see cosplay of this and both of them doing this exact pose. But this is what makes Dandadan so special. Is the fact that despite how meek Occult-kun, Ken Takakura, whichever name you want to go with, our main protagonist here, he does show, he did show initiative. He does show spine. He's not, he's not acting meek at every single corner. He's not Shinji Ikariing the whole thing, and he's definitely not Sasukeing up the whole scene. It's such a great balance that the two have, and gosh, man, the animation looks so cool. This whole the art here is just so tight. The faces. I like it. But this is quite possibly one of the most and she's definitely not Asuka Langley Soryuing the whole scene either. What is that supposed to be? Not going full psycho? Yes, not going full psycho. Okay. They have all the markings of being those type of characters in typical shonen and such. The tsundere, the yandere, the meek shonen protagonist. That's what makes it. That's what makes this the story so tight. And that's not easy to do, because it's very easy to fall into that trap. Especially if it's a money making thing. But it really creates some nice characters. Right here, if you look in the foreground, here is the alien. See it moving along there? Pretty good. That was actually pretty good. I noticed the yellow moon. I didn't notice it the first time because this is supposed to be, this is the normal moon, and the reason why I point that out is because of what happens at the when she delivers that big time kick. Let's see here. Here it is. When she delivers that big time kick, and you see that this is the white moon. Very important to of course, with the manga, you know, it's all monochrome, you know, black and white, so you couldn't tell one or the other. But here they really made the distinction that the normal moon will be in yellow, but if the aliens are using the moon to hide it, it would be pure white, like a white ball. It's a pretty good distinction, because I never caught that until it actually happened in the manga. But to see that they were able to color with color, they were able to separate the two was pretty good. But yeah, we get to see this tunnel here, which has always been bugging me, because I know it's in Mob Psycho, but what I'm wondering about that tunnel, let's see, where's the opening tunnel? Because I've been noticing that in other anime. I'm trying to remember what other anime, especially in older anime, there's always this tunnel. And I know Mob Psycho had this one. Had the tunnel, and he went into that. There it is. Here's the tunnel. Yeah, it's been bothering me as to whether if this is a common trope in spiritual, you know, anime that involves like demons and spirits and such in a modern setting. Because that's also was done in Spirited Away, where they had a tunnel similar like this, a moss-covered tunnel. You see that in Spirited Away. Mob Psycho did something similar to this, and here we got this one. I think a few others have done it too, where they come up to these keep-out tunnels, and you know, it leads to a demon and so on. I want to know what the urban legend is behind this. What's the urban legend behind this type of thing here? Like, is this a real urban legend out there in Japan when it comes to moss-covered tunnels like this? It's very interesting to see it again. Now, one of the things he does when he enters in, here we go, he screams out, "Too shy, shy boy," but it's the way he says it. Now, when he said that, there was one thing I thought of that came to mind, and that was Kukaju's "Too Shy Shy." It's pretty interesting. I mean, it could be a reach, but it just seems so funny. Let's talk about Ken Takakura here. He's actually a famous actor in Japan. He passed away not too long ago, but he's best known for having done the live-action Golgo 13, which is based on a manga. I played the video game on the NES earlier this year on my main channel, my gaming channel. But this is actually a very famous, not only is it a famous movie star, but this is a very, very famous movie, Golgo 13, which is a spy film. Yeah, this is the legendary Ken Takakura that Ayase actually has a crush with, and is interested in finding boys with the name Ken Takakura. It's not very much elaborated at all in the manga, and it's not really elaborated very well in this episode 1. But a lot of people keep pointing to this actor as the point of Ayase's hard-on crush, and it's kind of weird why that is, honestly, because you know, it's set in the 2020s, but this is a movie that was set in the 70s, 1973. So you know, she might have most likely have come across this and became a fan of 70s spy films like Golgo 13. And she must have found him hot, you know. Hence why she freaks out when she finds out that Occult-kun is named Ken Takakura. Her whole brain exploded. But yeah, for those of you wondering who is she talking about, this is most likely him. Yeah, so the aliens and the demons make their move. We're introduced to Turbo Granny, who chases him down and nibbles on his on his crotch. She had a crotch lunch. The animation was pretty good, this whole sequence with him running. And of course, Ayase gets captured by the Serporians. They do Ultraman poses. For those of you who probably not understand why I keep saying Ultraman pose. Yeah, you see that pose? That's the pose they're doing, and they're firing that little beam. Since he you call it the Power Ranger pose. Chat calls it the Power Ranger pose. Now this is the Ultraman pose when they fire out the beam from those 4 holes. That's what he's doing here in Ultraman. He's firing out right out of the side of his hands, just like they do, and always does the form of the cross and goes sha, and it's like shh. So yeah, it's and it makes sense too, given that that Ultraman fights aliens, and they happen to be aliens. So it's a nice little call out to Ultraman. It's pretty fun. That's a pretty fun thing that they did. Now, one last interesting little thing. Of course, you know, she wakens her power. She gets psychic. Delivers a crazy attack. Which again comes back to what I wanted to point out was the fact that she tapped into her tummy like her grandma told her to, and developed the psychic powers. Which is funny because psychic powers tend to be more on the science fiction side. While in terms of Japan, in the context of Japanese storytelling, usually psychic powers are on the science fiction side, as well as aliens and such, while monsters and spiritual powers tend to lean on the fantasy side. So she kind of like represents the fantasy tropes, while Occult-kun represents the science fiction tropes. And what flips on their heads is that she ends up getting science fiction powers, while Ken gets the fantasy powers. By turning into a demon, he becomes a fantasy character. By her tapping into psychic power, she becomes science fiction. Which is a nice flip. That's actually a pretty cool flip in story writing, in storytelling. That's a rare feat to be able to pull off, especially in such a organic flow of the storytelling. I also love the dialogue. The dialogues are so natural and so nice moving. But yeah, it was pretty cool that that kind of flip happens. It's a very rare feat to achieve in storytelling and make it so cool and epic for both of them. So yeah, they managed to get out. They blow up. Ken again showing more great characterization of being a gentleman. You know, looking away from Ayase and you know, giving her his jacket, his pants, his shirt to cover up. But she wasn't gonna let him do that either, and she gives him some clothes, you know, to wear so he doesn't walk around just his boxers. And ultimately, he said he was going to take responsibility. Again, that is such a great characterization for a shonen protagonist. You know, I use willpower to make it to the tunnel and then make it work somehow, because he has no control over Turbo Granny powers. He has no control right now over Turbo Granny unless she holds her hand up to block it. And the fact that he was willing, instead of freaking out like typical shonen tend to do, you know, they're like freaking out and getting all scared and getting all, he just got up and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go and deal with this myself. And he just took the initiative right off the bat. You know, for a character in any other shonen writing would be freaking out and cowering in the corner or something like that, and then getting punched by her, This is why Dandadan right now is tops with manga and anime fans, because the characters are just so solidly written. They're not the same old typical thing we've been seeing. So to close this all out, a little extra finality of culture. Here we go. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it clearly, but there she is. She kicks him. She gives him a little pat in the butt with a kick. That was something that I learned from Licorice Recoil. When I went to last year at at Anime NYC convention, they brought this up. The creators of this series, Licorice Recoil, recommend watching that. They do this little thing here. These are two friends, our two main protagonists, and they do this little thing. that usually denotes friendliness and endearment whenever you see anime characters do something like that. That's what they explained. The creators of Licorice Recoil. That's what they explain. It means when they do those little taps like that, those little tap kicks. So for Ayase to do that to Ken Takakura, do it to Ken here when she gives him that little love tap, shows shows that she now cares about him and sees him as a friend. They're not instantly in love with each other yet. They just met. They just went through an experience together, and they just got to know each other. Just getting to know each other. But that's an expression of friendliness, because that would make no sense after going through all that and just getting to know each other and everything, that she suddenly just wants to get rid of him or friend zone him or anything. They haven't even achieved that level yet. They just it's just starting. She just wants to be show more friendliness to him. So that's why that little kick happened. Much like in Licorice Recoil, where the two friends kicked each other. So yeah, episode 1 did a great job really translating from the manga into animation. The characters were the voice actors did a great job, really making those conversations sound natural and flowing. That's a testament of how good the writing is in the manga itself, and gave us epic moments and and got all the background stuff and world building rules right off the bat, right out the gate. So now it's just a matter of seeing what happens in episode 2. Oh man, and they got a lot of interesting stuff in that episode too. So I hope y'all get to stop by and see all of the more cultural discoveries comes out Dandadan. It is very much chock full of culture in Dandadan. Definitely a great watch if you're interested in looking into deep dives into the whole thing. So, comment, like, subscribe, follow. You know you want to. And head on over to Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. Grab yourself a copy of The Possible Man, a strange fantasy novel written by me. You can find the links down in the book down below. You're more than welcome to do lore videos and fan videos of my novel. I look forward to seeing those. And if you're interested, there's more links to other merch, such as pins, stickers, t-shirts, music. Enjoy the products. Thank you for the patronage. And if you want, you can join me on my live multi-stream on Twitch and Kick every every Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is why I talk fast. Talking slow is even worse. Alright, so until the next episode of Dun Dun Dun, I wish you all a good night, a buenas noches, and oyasumi nasai.